It was just after sunrise when the digital uproar began. Donald Trump, from the ease of his phone, and with the intensity of a man feeling trapped, took to social media to share what many are now calling one of the most alarming series of rants since his presidency ended. The focal point, a not-so-subtle threat of nuclear conflict, expressed through incoherent capitalization, strange wording, and increasingly dangerous language that blurs the line between political drama and a geopolitical crisis. Welcome to Celebrity Cookies, where the tea is always hot and the stories come with sprinkles of surprise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your take on the story. What triggered his outburst this time was a reported statement from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who supposedly mentioned the potential for nuclear weapon transfers to Iran. Trump, in his typical mix of confusion and chaos, posted, "Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually using the N-word nuclear and saying that he and other countries would provide nuclear warheads to Iran? Did he really say that, or is it just my imagination?" He wasn't done. Trump went on, "If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know right away." He then added, "The N-word shouldn't be treated so lightly. I guess that's why Putin's the boss." His words conveyed a blend of alarm and admiration, paranoia and provocation, all in capital letters and infused with themes of war, power, and insecurity. But the escalation didn't stop with Medvedev. Trump then made a bizarre boast about America's military strength, particularly highlighting the nation's nuclear submarines. "They are the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built and just launched 30 Tomahawks. All 30 hit their targets perfectly," he wrote. "So in addition to our excellent fighter pilots, thank you to the captain and crew." These were not the remarks of a composed former leader. They reflected the panic-driven expressions of a man who increasingly seems to equate bluster with policy and views social media as a replacement for strategy. His tone was desperate, and his message carried significant risk. Shortly after his nuclear comments, Trump shifted his attention to global energy markets, seemingly issuing economic commands via social media. "Everyone keep oil prices down. I'm watching. You're playing right into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it." What he meant by this was unclear, but clarity has never been the goal. Chaos is the message. Trump continued his online outburst by attacking his own party, specifically targeting Kentucky Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, a frequent critic of Trump. "Get this bum out of office, ASAP," he wrote. Twice. This meltdown was not occurring in isolation. Reports emerged overnight indicating that U.S. military forces had carried out strikes in Iran, causing a significant increase in oil futures. Prices jumped by more than 3.6%, reaching $76.47 per barrel. While some news outlets highlighted the economic ramifications, others quickly shifted their focus to the geopolitical instability emanating from the Middle East, particularly in relation to Trump's statements. In response to the escalating tensions, 2 oil supertankers reportedly made sudden U-turns in the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial passage for global energy transport. Additionally, the U.S. State Department issued a shelter-in-place advisory for Americans in Qatar, citing a credible threat to their safety. As the situation deteriorated, notable figures began to criticize Trump's unpredictable behavior. George Conway, a longtime critic of Trump and husband of former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway, tweeted, "I'm shocked that the verbally and mathematically challenged businessman who cheated his way into Penn, bankrupted numerous businesses, and squandered a real estate empire doesn't grasp supply and demand." Economist George Perks sarcastically remarked, "Who would have thought that creating a scenario where 25% of global petroleum liquids might be disrupted would affect oil prices?" However, if anyone believed Trump's posts were inconsequential, Iran's reaction indicated otherwise. Iran's military command issued a stark warning. "Mr. Trump, the gambler, you may initiate this war, but we will be the ones to conclude it." Subsequent satellite images of the Fordow nuclear facility in Iran revealed that, while the site wasn't entirely destroyed, 16 cargo trucks were seen entering nearby tunnels just hours before the strikes. Many analysts suspect that Iran may have moved enriched uranium or sensitive equipment in anticipation of the attack, potentially alerted by Trump's own social media activity. This raised concerns that Trump's compulsive need to share information may have jeopardized the operation before it even started. Jake Bro, a respected analyst and veteran, pointed out the troubling difference between past presidents and Trump's recent public appearance. "I have never seen a U.S. president so weak and so fearful about discussing military action that he needed his entourage just to stand at the podium with him." Indeed, Trump did not address the press alone. He was accompanied by J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Fox News host Pete Hegseth. In contrast, previous presidents have typically addressed the nation solo when announcing military actions, as is expected of leaders. The New York Times was straightforward in its assessment. Trump's constant tweeting revealed his war plans and prompted the Iranians to conceal a significant amount of uranium. A source within the Pentagon stated bluntly, "We're witnessing the former president tweet us into a crisis." The turmoil was not limited to foreign policy. Trump's administration faced criticism for appointing individuals to key roles who were entirely unqualified. For instance, Thomas Fugate, a 22-year-old grocery store clerk with no experience in counterterrorism, was reportedly placed in a sensitive position solely due to his loyalty to the MAGA movement. As global tensions increased, Republican Senator Joni Ernst attempted to minimize the situation, saying, "This is not a war. This was just a strike." She characterized it as retribution for American lives lost due to Iran. Representative Pat Harrington conveyed a similarly perplexing message. "We're trying to lower the temperature by raising the temperature." Congressman Keith Self went even further, threatening, "If Iran escalates, we'll return to Tehran." Trump's former faith office added a spiritual dimension to the unfolding crisis. Outside the White House, members of his religious coalition gathered to pray and even speak in tongues. One participant declared, "Nothing will stop this nation. America will return to God." It was a surreal blend of fervor and politics. Former Congressman and Iraq War veteran Pat Ryan responded candidly, stating, "Trump claims his strikes made Americans safer. He's dangerously mistaken. I served 2 combat tours. His actions were unconstitutional and made us less safe, not more." Ryan elaborated that determining whether a nuclear facility has been destroyed can take hours, if not days or weeks. He cautioned that the real danger lies not just in missile or drone retaliation, but in asymmetric warfare, cyber attacks, assaults on oil transport routes, or even domestic terrorism. Perhaps the most alarming warning was, Iran now has every incentive to quickly pursue the development of a nuclear weapon. For someone who campaigned on the promise of avoiding endless wars, Trump now appears eager to engage in one, without a clear strategy, without consulting Congress, and without fully briefing his own intelligence team. The full extent of the damage may not yet be apparent. However, one thing is certain, Donald Trump is no longer merely shouting into the void. His words carry weight, and that weight is now intersecting with the most dangerous weapons known to humanity. From frantic tweets to reckless claims, from unclear economic directives to religious theatrics, Donald Trump's actions are not just unpresidential, they are destabilizing on a global scale. He refers to nuclear war as the N-word. He ridicules world leaders. He threatens global adversaries and undermines allies, all from his phone. This is not entertainment. This is not a game. This is a former commander-in-chief playing with fire in a world that is highly volatile. As one former White House official remarked, "We've moved beyond dog whistles. This is a siren, a blaring red alert." The issue at hand is no longer whether Trump will campaign again in 2024. Rather, it is about the extent of the harm he may cause beforehand. The global community is paying attention. The dangers are significant, and the stakes have reached an unprecedented level. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.